but we're going to start the program out talking about the NWO Part 2. Part 2. We got a couple of Facebook messages. People either love the NWO or they just hate them. Have y'all noticed this?
Yeah. Well, the NWO actually was one of the beginnings of the sports entertainment. That was one of the beginnings. I've often called Kevin Sullivan the father of sports entertainment, and so this is the beginning of it right here. Did I already get kicked off already?
Jack, go ahead and write him down. We were talking about him turning heel several times, but here
we
are.
We don't get paid. We were going to double his pay if he would not turn heel tonight.
Well, I didn't. I was stating a fact. That was a fact. It wasn't turning on nobody.
Well, let's talk about Part 2. We left off on June 16th, 1996 at the Great American Bash pay-per-view. Eric Bischoff was interviewing Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. It was very interesting. Eric Bischoff said this was the first time any announcer ever got power bombed on a table. And I think he'd probably be correct in that, wouldn't y'all?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
He wanted to do something different, so he went and done that. As you'll know, Razor Ramon during this, he toned down his Razor Ramon accent during this thing, since there was a lawsuit going on with the WWE over the Razor Ramon. And let's be honest, he was Razor Ramon on that show. So you can see why WWE might have won that lawsuit. It just makes sense why they would. By the way, if you haven't seen Eric Bischoff yet, Power Bombed, it is available, I think, on the WWE Network. Am I correct there, Jack?
I believe so, yeah.
And then on June 17th edition of Nitro, Hall and Nash was not on the show. They asked Eric Bischoff why they wasn't on it, and he said he didn't want to give them everything week after week. Was this a good idea, Jack?
Oh, yeah, I think it was. I think that's a big thing that goes on now is too much of certain storylines. There's nothing wrong with taking a week or two off and coming back with it then.
Now, on that show, though, Mean Gene Okerlund gave them the name The Outsiders on that particular show. I don't know if Mean Gene come up with a name or they told him to call them The Outsiders. I'm not certain. Do y'all know?
No, I never heard.
They were going to go against Lex Luger, Sting, and Randy Savage at the next pay-per-view. There was 3 other people that was involved in that. It could have been Hulk Hogan, the Giant, and I can't remember the other person right now. Do y'all remember the other person that was going to be in this 6-person thing? By the way, this is the ratings for the Nitro on June 17th. The Nitro was a 3.4. Raw was a 2.3. The week before the pay-per-view, 2.7 was Nitro, Raw 2.6. So people must have enjoyed seeing Eric Bischoff get through the table.
I did.
Well, let's get into the lawsuit. On June 20th, 1996, the WWE, or WWF at the time, files a lawsuit against Turner Broadcasting for copyright infringement, service mark infringement, whatever that means, tortious interference, and contractual relations. Vince also sends out a letter. We talked about this on the first deal, and Rodney didn't get to talk about this, but he sent a letter saying he didn't really want to do the lawsuit, but this billion-dollar company was trying to put his little family business out of business. Rodney, what do you think about that?
All I heard was violins. That's just the way it was. I can't believe he would actually go out there and say, he's putting out my family-owned organization, family-owned company, as if Bill Watts's was a family-owned company. He ran against him. The Von Erichs was a family-owned company. He ran against him. The Crockett's were a family-owned company. But, yeah, he was wanting to go in there and get Symphony. This big, huge corporation was after little bitty old him.
And by the way, he would run against the people in their same town the same night they were running to try to put them out of business. So if they had good attorneys, I don't think Vince would have won this. I don't think he would have won this thing.
Well, I think we got to remember now, at stake was, Stephanie might have wound up marrying one of the boys, and Shane might have left the company and sold all his interest. Oh, wait a minute, that did happen. Never mind.
What was amazing about this, though, Darren, while all this was going on, Vince went on his own show and told everybody that Scott Hall and Kevin Nash was not working for WWF anymore, and that they were on a rival show called Nitro. He actually said these words, and that they let the people know that he really. Well, wouldn't that just make people tune up? This? Oh, I didn't know they were on there.
Of course it did. That was. That's Nick Goulas teaches you. Ignore the competition. Do not promote them. Let them promote their own show. You don't promote somebody else's show on yours. That's dumb.
I mean, what did you think, Jack?
Oh yeah, I when he did it, I was thinking you just don't do that. You don't acknowledge anybody else. Of course, now WCW wound up doing the same thing the night Mick Foley won the championship, and their ratings took a big plunge. And I don't know, was that the start of that when that WWE started coming back on them? I think so.
I think it was. I think that was the beginning. Plus, the DX invasion also helped WWE.
Oh yeah. Well, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good stuff. But we're going to talk about that on a future episode. We're going to talk about, because that was some great stuff. This is what WWE wanted. They wanted $2 million for the first thing. They wanted $2 million, but they also wanted the profit from the pay-per-view that they did in June, that WCW did in June, and the ones they did in July. They also wanted triple that amount for any problems that it caused them. And they did win it. 4 years later, they did win the lawsuit and get all that. So I guess Vince knew what he was doing. He was putting that poor little family business out of business, and I don't know how much. It doesn't say how much he got. Has anybody heard?
Well, based on what I remember about pay-per-view, WCW got not one penny of pay-per-view. It always went to Turner Home Entertainment. So I don't know what he would have got out of that, because actually the pay-per-view was basically owned by another company.
Well, now, he did sue Turner Broadcasting, though.
Oh, so it was Turner Broadcasting. Okay, well, then he probably got it then.
Yeah, not WCW. He did actually sue Turner Broadcasting. And that whole lawsuit is online if people want to read it, if you want to take the time to read it. I mean, it's like 100 pages. So unless you just want to take that, I didn't want to read the whole contract. I didn't think that was, I don't think people would really care about that. All right, on June 24th edition of Nitro, during the World Tag Team title match against Sting, Lex Luger against Harlem Heat and the Steiners, Hall and Nash come from the crowd, and this time with some baseball bats. And I mean, they're over the railing. Cops hit that ring. They got their hands on their guns. All right. Scott Hall said this made WCW wrestlers look bad. Did it make WCW wrestlers look bad that two guys with bats and there were 6 guys in the ring with cops?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
I thought it was good stuff. Now, this is what they said that was happening in the back during this time. So that they were evidently, during these tapings, there used to be some people that would sit there and tell you what you could and could not do. And the guys were in the back saying, you can't take them baseball bats out there. And Sullivan was going, no, don't take those baseball bats out there. No, don't you. They took them out anyway. I don't see how they didn't get fired for it, because we all know Dustin Rhodes and Darso, Barry Darso, both got fired for doing something they wasn't supposed to do. Blood during that blacktop, whatever that thing was called that they did. I think Mike Graham might have got fired for that as well. All right, on July 1st edition of Nitro, Hall and Nash make their way from the crowd, and they sit at ringside this time. They have their tickets. They sit at ringside, which I thought was great stuff. Jack, did you enjoy this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought it was good storytelling.
And sitting there and they're eating their popcorn, giving it over to people, just this great stuff. Finally, they grab a hold of the mic, they go into the back, and again, a bunch of police. Now there's a bunch of wrestlers there. There's 6 wrestlers, but the police is who had to get them back. So I can understand, but it was developing a story. We have to look at that. So developing a story, even though it may have looked but it didn't hurt WCW at this time. It only helped.
Yeah.
Now let's look at July 7th, 1996, pay-per-view Bash at the Beach. Now this was the main event. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and their partner, who hasn't showed up yet, was in against Lex Luger, Sting, and Randy Macho Man Savage. At some point, and I've not seen what happened here, Jack, and maybe Lex Luger gets carried out of the match. I didn't see this part of the match.
I didn't see it either, but you know, Lex got carried a lot in matches. So
this is true. He's gone. Lex Luger's gone, and so they're really beating up on Savage. I mean, they're beating him good. Sting on the outside somehow, and here comes Hulk Hogan down the line. I have to admit, wherever they were at when they were talking about this match, and Mean Gene Okerlund was telling the people about who could be in that match, and they mentioned Hulk Hogan, they booed him out of that building. Mm-hmm. I mean, they absolutely booed him. Now, but they didn't, wherever this was at, and I can't remember where it's at, they didn't boo him when he came out. They were pretty well cheering him.
Yeah.
And then when he gets in the ring, looks at them, and he drops that leg drop on Randy Savage. That was superb stuff. Do you think wrestling fans saw that coming?
I don't think so. I didn't see it coming. Yeah, and I thought it was awesome. And I didn't know that there was that much trash allowed in one building at one time. But it was great.
Now, this is one thing somebody said, they paid these people to throw this trash in there. No, I don't think that happened. Rodney, did this happen?
No, they didn't pay anybody to throw anything in the building. No.
Those people were legitimately mad at Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
You know, and it showed even then you could get heat if you wanted to get heat in the wrestling business. You just had
everything you wanted out of a finish of a match that produced it. It was just tremendous.
It was really good. Now, they talked about this third man for a long period of time. Let's look at this picture real quick. Let's pull this picture up of Hulk Hogan. As you see, there's no one sitting. Everybody's standing. Hulk Hogan does a great interview in this, where he says, "This is what you get for booing me," basically. Tremendous stuff. Tremendous things happen. Now, prior to all this, 7 months before this, Eric Bischoff went to Hulk Hogan, and he sat down with him, and he wanted to go ahead and turn him heel. And he started talking about it. They went through. He said he looked at his watch and said, things are getting really, really, really a long time going. I said, I think I'm just going to go ahead and walk you to the door. He did want to be turned.
Yeah.
2 weeks prior to the show, Hulk Hogan's asked Eric Bischoff to come to Los Angeles where he was doing a movie. And he said, the first thing he asked him, he says, who's going to be the third man? Eric Bischoff said, I don't know, because he didn't want to share anything with him on any of who that's going to be. And he said, well, brother, you're looking at him. So he decided he wanted to be the man. Anybody was going to know if they were watching that this was going to be huge.
Yeah.
I mean, now the man that they were going to use was going to be Sting. Would that have got, and I'll ask Rodney first, would that have got the impact that Hulk Hogan got?
It would have got over about as much of Mustafa Ali being part of the Retribution.
Jack, what did we got over?
Get over.
I have to agree. I agree with Rodney there. I just don't. People did not want to boo Sting. They just love Sting. But a lot of people were ready to boo Hogan.
Yeah, this is true. They were already doing so. I think that, Hulk Hogan had creative control over his contract. We've talked about this before. I don't believe I would give anybody creative control on their contracts. So do y'all think that anybody should have creative control?
No, never.
I mean, Ultimate Warrior was given $1 million a year, and he wasn't going to lose a match. What were you going to do with him?
I would have had him put the ring up.
That would have been a very expensive ring crew.
At least he was doing what he was asked to do. I mean,
if the guy was drawing, that's one thing. But I wouldn't have put a title on him because how you going to get it off of him?
It's true. That's true. I don't think he lasted, did he? He was there about 3 months or something, and he was gone.
Wasn't that long?
But this has to be the NWO. This is the beginning of the NWO. This picture right here, that was the start of it, and soon they will wear all the. I think he comes out soon as Hollywood Hogan, and they didn't even have to pay Marvel anymore for the name Hulk, so that came over good for WCW. So